Hey, what is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Thank you for joining us here for episode 5 of the Deadboy Lounge horror movie news and culture podcast. I'm sitting here with with my co-host Tim Third X Trick. How you doing tonight, brother?
Oh shit, you doxed me. Damn, Paul.
Hey, you know what? It's actually in your fucking stream panel, so don't you even start with that shit anymore, okay?
I just want to make sure you're not gonna, because we're doing the podcast. Yeah.
The bald Third X Trick. Hey, yeah, I know, right?
Fuck.
Some developments were going on. Cat's out of the bag.
Yeah, I should have set the sub goal higher.
Oh, right though.
I was like, oh man, if I get 2 subs, we'll shave my head. You idiot. 10.
Got to make them earn it. Newly shaven like a fresh baby's butt.
Yes, my head is nude.
Nude.
Manga TOS.
And lewd. How you doing, man? How's your day been?
You know, not bad.
Yeah?
I'm actually super fucking tired after last night, though.
Last night was a lot of fun. In case you guys missed it, we actually guested on my friend's podcast. She does a Tuesday night show called Fuck Me. Technically Tuesday. I almost forgot it.
It's not called Fuck Me.
And it's not called Fuck Me. Don't go looking for Fuck Me on the internet. You'll get all kinds of wrong things. And it was a lot of fun. We just talked about like our favorite, essentially our top 10 horror movies of all time. And it led into some really great conversations. We sat there and watched trailers, broke the stream like 3 times. It was amazing.
I went to go rewatch the stream and it said that Lionsgate had claimed it.
Oh, wow.
So specifically, it was Saw.
Yeah, that's crazy. I didn't think that. Fucking
Yeah.
Lionsgate bringing the hammer down, man.
Fucking nuts, bro.
That's wild, dude. Oh shit. Well, what do you say we jump into some news real quick, man?
Okay, so horror movie Unhinged could be the first back in theaters. Deadline reports that Solstice Studios hopes to test the market by releasing psychological thriller 2 months early on July 1st. Wow.
All right.
Chairman CEO Mark Gill said before production started that releasing it on a holiday would normally be out of the question, but the recent pandemic has changed all the rules. We're sitting on September 4th, and then COVID-19 happened, and A Quiet Place 2 moved out of its original slot and landed on our date, said Gill. When you're in a speedboat and a giant ship is coming at you, you better move out of the way. We looked at the rest of the year, and fall/winter and spring 2021, the release schedule was already crowded. When you add all the films that have been delayed, it made us think it may go wrong. Wow, this one's weird. It made us think it may go. I'm actually lost on that whole fucking thing.
It's basically just saying that with the release schedule already crowded,
They need to go sooner.
They're going to go sooner. Yeah. So
Yeah,
essentially, the way that it's laid out right now, so long as no other films throw their names in the hat, I think is what leads to later on in the article. Essentially, they'll be the first movie back when theaters open up again.
Are theaters going to be open though, July 1st?
I don't know. That's actually the first I've heard about any movie theaters opening again for business in any relative short amount of time. So yeah. I'm gonna put a tentative maybe.
Yeah. So it continues on. Studies show people are eager to return to theaters, but distancing rules and other guidelines must be established to ensure public safety. If no other films decide on similar release dates, Unhinged could be a cash cow if theaters are only allowed to open at 50% capacity. Do you think that that means more people would go see this single movie? Because psychological thrillers aren't for everyone.
They're not for everyone. It does sound like a really far-fetched kind of idea. And I don't want to say they're completely wrong. I guarantee you there's going to be people out there that are like, I just want to get out of the fucking house. I'll go watch fucking anything at this point.
Yeah.
Is that going to be everybody though? I mean, that's kind of, I feel like that's an obvious no. But at the same time, I think regardless of what it is, people are going to see oh my gosh, there's a place of business open again. We can get out of the house. Let's go see this
we
shit.
can do things.
We can do things and go
I don't
see
care
people.
about COVID-19. The film follows a young woman who takes her traffic frustrations out on a fellow driver by honking her horn. The act begins a course of events causing the driver, Russell Crowe, a road raging psychopath, to then terrorize the woman and her family. Isn't it like the same thing as The Hitchhiker?
I don't think so. Like I went and watched the brief trailer for this one, and it's legit. Like he's just like a driver, but this lady like passes him in traffic, and then all of a sudden he's just like, I got my bitch. And just
yeah, but Sean Bean in Hitchhiker is like,
that was Sean Bean, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was Sean Bean, and since it's him, he has to die
and everything.
I think it's like a contractual obligation at this point.
At this point, it's like you just do it so good, man.
You just die better than everyone else. I don't know how to explain it. It's nuts. Setting a release schedule is like playing chess on the ocean, says Gill. Even without a pandemic, films move a lot. It states as public health matter shuts theaters. What are you gonna do?
What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
I mean, at that point, it's really out of their hands. And that story came from ihorror.com. We do kind of like abridged versions of these articles. So if you would like to see the full version, these are the sites that we're getting them from. So just keep that in mind.
Okay.
Sounds like a really good movie, though. Like I saw some comments and some brief, like, because all we have right now is a trailer. And as any movie fan knows, the trailer only lets us in on so much. But from what we can see, and Russell Crowe seems like he is delivering a stellar performance. So
Dude, I love Russell Crowe, but I always think about the South Park episode with Russell Crowe.
Fighting around the world.
It's easily like it wasn't even really him, but it's my favorite performance of Russell Crowe.
Oh yeah, I mean all the celebrity quote unquote impersonations are just so good.
South Park's so good. South Park was good. I haven't watched it in like 2 years.
Yeah, and it's. I hate to say it's inexcusable, but I mean, it's all there on, I think they have like every season on Hulu right now. There's still some on the Comedy Central that's streamed for free. I mean, like it's almost impossible to just say, I never get a chance to watch South Park anymore.
It's hard to watch it though after Trump became president because
it's all
like, they weren't expecting that.
Yeah.
They were just like, what do we do? I don't want to continue following this story. Ugh.
Well, I think they had to come up with a character like PC Principal.
Yeah. Gross. You want to read the next story, my dude?
Yeah, dude. Let's see. New psychological thriller video game. What Happened comes to Steam. Yes, we are actually covering a horror video game in our news section this time.
Horror culture.
What Happened is a brand new psychological thriller, a nightmarish first-person exploration of anxiety, depression, and hope. With some brilliant ideas and fresh gameplay mechanics delivered in a slick-looking package from new studio Genius Slackers. Genius name, by the way. Indie publisher Catnap, also good, and developer Genius Slackers announced their upcoming first-person psych horror experience. The game will launch on Steam this July. Console launch will follow at a later date. Players will guide high school student Styles. That's all we have on the main character right now is that one name, Styles, through the dark corridors of his own mind as he struggles with his own demons, real and imaginary. Based in Warsaw, Poland. Original setting for a good game, by the way. At least I have not played a game set anywhere in Poland, for that matter. So, really interested with that.
The Witcher.
Oh shit, you're right. God damn, I'm an idiot. Sorry, CD Projekt Red.
We love you.
We love you guys.
Give
I
us
promise.
Cyberpunk, please.
The game will launch on Steam this July. Console launch will follow at a later date. Players guide student styles through the dark corridors are based on mine. I already read that. Based in Warsaw, Poland. The game is a reflection of a world in which cruelty often dominates at the expense of empathy, but where not all hope is lost. In What Happened, players must save Styles from the dark forces that lure him towards self-destruction. As players help him solve puzzles and escape the demon's clutches, the game will respond to the empathy they show him. I'm not entirely sure what that means exactly, because I've never known demons, imaginary or otherwise, to show any form of empathy. So it'll be interesting to see how they implement that.
They have a YouTube channel.
Oh, do they? Cool. You want to put that link in the chat real quick?
Yeah.
Lisa. Let's see where we're going. The small independent Warsaw-based team has been developing the game for 3 years, headed by founder Hassan Mediasel. I really hope I pronounced that right. Who hopes the, quote, experience will remind players of the power of unity, empathy, and a damn good story. This article came to us from horrornews.net. If you would like to see the whole story, please give that site a look-see and check out that article.
Full review on IGN.com.
Full review on IGN.com. Look at that. There we go. See? My man's on it tonight.
I'm just kidding.
Be careful what you say, man, because I trust you. So I'm going to let you.
Listen, you want to put some trust in me? I'm going to show you something that's fucking life-changing.
Uh-oh.
In just a second.
This could mean
Right here.
many different things.
Look at this.
Starburst all pink.
Bruh.
Bruh.
So good.
Oh, man. The voice changer gets me every time. Okay, before we jump into tonight's movie, rather, tonight was actually put together by a special request from my wife and mother to my children as a special Mother's Day gift to cover this particular movie. It actually happens to be a personal favorite of my wife's. So we thought, why not? My wife. So we figured, why not make it a whole thing? And I actually have some notes and opinions from her on the movie, as well as myself, in typical fashion for the show, at least as of right now. So it may run a little longer than usual, but we're going to try and keep it condensed as much as we can. That being said, though, we'll run into a brief synopsis of the film. We'll do our normal...
Before you do the synopsis, I actually want to apologize because my notes, they don't exist. I had some personal tragedy happen. A family member died, and it's like it was pretty crazy. So I actually had to finish watching this movie today at work. I'm dedicated, and I wanted to make sure I watched the movie fresh so that everything I talk about, is it's fresh in my head.
Right on.
But my notes don't really exist, so I'm going to be a little bit more off the cusp with everything that I talk about. So if I seem a little bit different in the way I do it, my bad. Just life happens. So.
Yeah, no, and I'm sorry to hear that, man. I didn't know about that. So yeah, we'll just take it one step at a time. It's all. What is this?
It's like a brain. This big chewy nerd. We got candy.
I see. Yeah. You went on a bit of a spree.
Nice.
Thank you. I enjoy my puns. Okay, so the movie that we're covering tonight is a adaptation of Clive Barker's short story, The Midnight Meat Train. Before today, and I actually did the same thing. I watched the movie today, finished watching it. Mm-hmm. Before today, I had not actually seen the film. I've seen trailers. I've heard excerpts and brief reviews. Nothing I committed to memory though. So I went in this with a fresh head, a fresh opinion, no biases one way or the other or anything like that. And I actually ended up really liking it. I don't normally go for this type of film, but it struck me in a really weird way. So we'll go through the synopsis, and then we'll go from there. The movie Midnight Meat Train, a promising young photographer played by Bradley Cooper, lands the opportunity of a lifetime until the subjects of his work start to lead him down a dark and sinister downward spiral of obsession into the path of a serial killer played by Vinnie Jones, amazing actor by the way, who stalks late-night subway trains, viciously killing and butchering his victims. The movie is directed by Ryuhei Kitamura, sorry if I mispronounced your name, written by Jeff Bueller, and Clive Barker is also given a writer's credit for his original short story. Starring Vinnie Jones, Bradley Cooper, and Leslie Bibb, with an appearance by the brother of legendary director Sam Raimi, Ted Raimi, in a very brief, kind of like almost cameo type role. So it was really cool to see him in this. So let's go ahead and start with you, man. What was your first impression when watching this movie?
Okay, so I really like the whole like struggling photographer thing.
Right.
Like I really like that because it's not a position you see a lot in the movies of like the photographer who chases ambulances or tabloids and shit like that. Anytime you see a photographer in a movie, they're like just washed up as fuck, or they're very successful, you know?
Yeah, or they're almost avant-garde in a way, and they're looked at like, you know what I mean? In that type of and through those types of lenses, you never see the dream chaser, I guess you could say.
Yeah, the guy who like is on the cusp of making it.
Right.
I see that one of your notes, the second one you have.
Yeah.
It was like my first thought to you.
It's a little ironic, right?
Yeah.
Like a little bit. Bradley Cooper in this movie is vegan. Like there's actually a scene where he sits down in a diner and he pushes this little Tupperware container with like a full fucking brick of tofu, and he's like apparently close enough with this guy that he's just like, here, throw my tofu on your grill and cook that shit for me.
Yeah. He's like, I'm not gonna have that ruin my grill. He's like, it's tasteless. Like, you admit it. Like, yeah,
that's fucking slave me, man.
Of course it's tasteless. I kind of have some issue with the cast.
Okay.
Because there's only like essentially there's two main characters.
Right.
I can't think of their names.
Like the characters' names or the actors?
Characters' names. I mean, it's obviously Bradley Cooper and Leslie Bibb.
Okay.
So those are the actors.
It's Leon and Maya.
Leon and Maya. Okay. So they have no chemistry.
You didn't think so?
Not really. And I will tell you that one of my notes later is awkward sex scene is awkward.
That was really awkward. Like it seemed a little rough, and not rough in a fun way.
No, he pushes her down and she's like, okay.
See, from my perspective, it almost looked like she like almost flamboyantly threw herself down, and then he was just kind of like, I'm game.
Because every guy's like,
Yeah, right. And actually, one of my notes later on down the line, since we're already covering this part of the movie, homie goes straight for the ass.
Dude. Yeah, that was some butt stuff.
I mean, like, no questions about it, just
Mm-hmm. We can go through the movie in order. My bad.
All right. That's all right. Kind of glad we already got that out of the way, to be honest with you.
Just awkward as fuck.
It's really like, I didn't think too much on it because luckily enough, it is a very short scene. Like, I think it's all of like 45 seconds, maybe a minute, give or take. But yeah, it was super awkward to sit through. Like, it almost looks like to the point she's like, the look on her face is like, I didn't expect this to happen.
Like, I feel like if they love each other, they do not love each other in a physical way.
You might be onto something
like,
there.
When you watch the movie, you can definitely tell that their physical intimacy is it's weird.
Yeah, and I mean, like there is a sense of care for one another. Like they obviously care about each other. But yeah, I think you're actually hitting it right on there. There's a very awkward physical intimacy between them.
I almost wish they would have I almost wish they would have like made like something in the story where like maybe he got caught cheating
Mm-hmm.
and they're like just on the climb back up to trusting each other maybe.
Yeah, because it almost seems like, and you can almost make the argument, oh well, the conflict comes when and we'll get into this in as we go through the notes and stuff. But there is some areas that allow almost like a kind of an explanation into why they are the way they are, but it's still kind of vague in a way. It's really strange. But for me, it doesn't take too much away from the overall film.
Right.
Like I said before, I actually really dug it. I had never seen it before going in. I'm a huge fan of Vinnie Jones. In his stuff in like some of Guy Ritchie's movies and everything. Like dude's amazing. And
I like him in like a lot of the British movies he's in.
right, yeah, like Snatch,
Um,
Lock, Stock,
Rock and Rolla.
Rock and Roll was good.
Yeah.
It was really good. I like that one. um, yeah, I mean, I had a very fascinating time watching this movie. One of my first notes kind of relays to what you were talking about before, how Cooper's character is relatable and easy to connect with. The struggling artist trying to chase a dream. I mean, even if you're not into photography, someone has a thing that they can say that they're trying to achieve or that they're going after. I mean, us sitting here doing this thing on Twitch and shit, like that's something that we can relate to this character. And I think for a movie like this, your protagonist has to be relatable.
I think it's really awesome to say like you want to put yourself in his shoes. Like,
Right.
that's really awesome because like you want to be that person who's on the cusp of success,
Yeah.
you know? But you don't want to be him.
You don't want to be.
You don't want to be holy shit.
Yeah, yeah. And again, the whole thing with him being vegan, I feel like that was a intentional part. Has to have come from the original story, and so like there was an obvious disconnect there between the subject matter and our main character. So that was ironic and funny, but at the same time it worked. So I was something that I really struck with me. First appearance that we see of the killer is kind of vague, but you still know exactly who he is.
Yeah. Well, because I feel like they set the tone really well.
Yeah.
That whole scene is so intense. So, a little bit of context into
Yes.
what we're talking about. Oh shit! Bradley Cooper's character gets introduced to a how would you describe her?
Like a gallery owner, art collector
Yeah.
type person. Yeah.
Yeah, a gallery owner.
Yeah.
Exactly. Gets introduced to a gallery owner, and he's talking to her about like how he wants to capture the city, how it's ugly, and like all the deplorable things that happen that society's just okay with. And he's got like a video of a homeless guy who looks like he's, oh man, I don't know how this is gonna come across, but dope sleep.
Yeah.
Uh, like he's about to take an opiate nap.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you'll know what we're talking about if you decide to go see the film. It's one of his photos that he's showing this gallery owner, and this homeless guy is like leaning super hard to what, like he's falling
And he's
asleep.
about to like fall onto a guy in a business suit,
Right.
and the guy looks disgusted that he's even on the train with him.
Mm-hmm.
And Bradley Cooper's like, I want to show the city for what it is. And she looks at him and says, well, you failed. Capture the moment after he touches him and then talk to me. And I mean, like, that really made sense.
Yeah.
Like, his pictures were all build up and no climax.
Right. Yeah, that's a great way to put it, actually.
Yeah. So one like awkward intimate scene later with between the Bradley Cooper and Leslie Bibb, and I God, I'll never get over that. Um, uh, Bradley Cooper gets up and he decides he wants to go walk at like 1 a.m,
Mm-hmm.
and he decides to go start taking pictures. And by the way, he's got a camera with no. I don't want to be that guy. Like, I know that sometimes you have to have uh, I can't think of the term. Suspension of belief.
Yes.
But that camera's not catching fucking anything without flash.
Yeah, it's like the middle of the fucking night, and the most he has to work with is like generic city lighting, which in this part of the city is very like more inner city, is very rundown, not well kept, not the most savory characters out at this time of night, and it's not well lit. So great point. A huge oversight, I think, on their part, actually.
And like, not to mention the camera is a micro four thirds lens. Like, it's a micro four thirds. It's not a 35mm camera.
Mm-hmm.
So, but that's like technical stuff, and I don't want to get into that because that doesn't go over well, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it's more nuancy details that someone who knows about that kind of stuff, right, is going to notice. Your general moviegoer is not going to pick up on shit like that unless they're also like, you know, photographers and hobbyists and shit like that. So yeah, an oversight for sure, but a forgivable one, I think.
Mm-hmm. I just, like I said, for some reason my suspension of disbelief was not there.
Okay.
I don't know why.
Okay, that's fair.
Bradley Cooper walks into a Subway and finds a girl who is about to be like assaulted by a gang. And he finds like those horrifying moments, like genuine fear, genuine like disgusting human behavior, stuff like that. Like, he gets the shots that he needs, and he outsmarts the gang. And that's when we're actually introduced to, I guess, what would be our antagonist, Mahogany.
Mm-hmm. Which we don't really actually know his name until about a third or a fourth of the way through the film, almost halfway through.
Yeah.
Like, they keep his identity very vague. He's just this presence that we're aware of. Still not really sure who he is. We know that he's probably a bad guy just because of the way they introduce the character, with no shot of his face, or that there's that sudden like bass drop when his hand catches the door when she walks into the train. That's after this interaction that he was just talking about between these two characters. And so it's just very evident we don't know who this person is. We don't know what they look like, but we know without a doubt that from that one shot, this is a bad motherfucker.
Yeah. And like, through the movie, you're like 1,000% sure he's the bad guy. You literally see him dismembering bodies, shit like that. Like, you see him being the bad guy, which I actually really appreciate. Like, just call an apple.
Right. Yeah, there's no reason to pussyfoot around it. There's no reason to try and make it mysterious or
right.
You know,
They're
hard.
Like, listen, this is the bad guy, and these are the bad things that he does.
Right. Yeah. Like, there's no way of skirting around this. Like, we're just gonna give this one to you, but it's going to still add into what we're doing with this movie later on. It's actually, I loved it. My next one, anime style gore. Eye pop was really fucking cool.
I actually really like a lot of the effects. There's one point when a guy's hanging upside down, and he looks like from his perspective up, but it's actually down, and he sees his reflection in his own blood.
Oh, that was so cool.
Conceptually cool, execution, but it's like early 2000s CGI, so whatever.
It's forgivable. I mean, like, when the movie first released, I'm sure that was just like fucking gut wrenching. But looking at it,
I really like a lot of the effects from this movie for sure. Oh
yeah, very imaginative in terms of like how they handled the quote unquote gory stuff. Like, it wasn't just full on flat out like, let's just put a shot of a bunch of guts and a bunch of blood, and then cut to the next scene.
Yeah.
Like it was all very fluid. Like it had everything to do with what was going on in that present moment of the movie. It was useful gore.
Yeah. The train becomes like a very tense part of the movie. Every time they're like in the subway, like you're just like bad things are about to happen.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, it does become a point of oh shit, I'm gonna fuck that word up, so I'm not even gonna try. But yeah, it does become like the area where every time it comes into frame, you're just kind of like, some bad shit's about to happen.
Somebody gonna die.
Somebody gonna die.
I am, however, confused about like some of the time frames, because everything that happens on the train is supposed to happen. I think they reference it to like 2 a.m.
Yeah, well, I mean, because like we go back to like his original, like the first night that he actually goes out during the scene that you were talking about with the gang and the girl. And then from then on, I think they kind of allude to the fact that most of these events kind of take place around this point in time. And there are other areas where, like, obviously if it's daylight, it's not this time, things of that nature. They try and make the time of day more obvious without having to actually tell you what the fucking time is.
But like when those kids are trying to sell candy bars,
that's a little different.
Why are they on the train at 2 a.m?
Right. It is a little weird. Like it's why candy bars? Like why did it have to be candy bars at 2 a.m?
And we know that he's hunting.
Right. So
That's
it did kind of make
it
did make for a cool tense kind of moment where like they ask him to buy the candy, he just kind of stands up silently, like reaching into his bag, and then it's just $1.
We didn't say so the antagonist has like a bag and it's got all his tools.
Mm-hmm.
And you see him reach in it and grab like a big meat hammer and his hook and stuff like that. Dude, that hammer's so fucking cool. Like he just pulls out and you're like, Thor.
And chrome plated or like stainless steel or something like that. Like it's very sleek, very shiny, but just an instrument of absolute fucking destruction. I mean, it's a note for later in the film, but he does it more than once. How hard does someone have to hit someone in the head to decapitate them with a hammer?
Oh man, he knocks a lot of body parts off with that hammer.
A lot. Like, and some of them are actually used like in like, as a fighting technique. Like, I'm going to swing this arm at this guy.
Yep.
Like the full on, like the gore can actually be like just full on gore, but at the same time it's done in such a very like, I don't know, there's like such a creative spin on the way they execute it.
Let me see if I can find. I'm gonna post a picture of the hammer.
Oh, okay, yeah. Because it's really cool looking.
I mean, my penis.
With just a hammer?
Not.
No, not just a hammer, but that is his favorite. Like that's his main go-to. But no, he has like a full-on like toolkit ready to go. And one of my notes is actually for later on in the film, but it does touch on what you're asking there, Vector Seal.
I found okay. So in the chat right now, sorry it's a long URL and I know it looks sketchy, but that's a Google search of the hammer.
And it's pretty cool looking.
It's off the hook. Like it's actually a meat tenderizer too.
Oh yeah, like the flat side has those little raised like pyramid edges. What the fuck is that?
Sorry, I'm not putting that through a URL shortener. These are just that's what I'm giving you.
Oh, wait, are you talking about the link or the hammer itself? Because either is acceptable, really.
Yeah, the hammer's nuts.
It's a really creative design, and I wonder if they went off because, like, I ashamedly have not read the original short story, so I wonder if it's actually taken from descriptions in the book. That would be really cool if they did that.
I bet you that's like a It's probably like based off the design of a butcher's hammer or
Yeah.
mallet.
Right. Yeah. It has. Oh, yeah, it makes too much sense for it not to be, right?
Yeah.
And
By the
then,
way, you can buy the hammer itself. It's $800.
God damn.
This foam stunt mallet was custom made for the production for use by Vinnie Jones as mahogany. Oh, it's an actual prop. That's why. Okay, never mind. That makes more sense.
Oh. Yeah, I was gonna say, like, damn, dude, butchering's an expensive hobby.
I'm sure that like a real butcher's like mallet,
Yeah.
it's probably stupid expensive.
I mean, yeah, they probably put some special attention into making those things for sure.
This is my Hummer.
Yeah. My next note's probably one of my favorites. Meat hook to the dick.
Ooh.
Wow. And like he full on lifts him up and like slams him up into the ceiling of the fucking train with that shit. Like just hooking the dick, man. And oh, god damn. Such a vicious scene.
Several times throughout the movie,
Oof.
several times throughout the movie, you see they go to the train and you see Mahogany like just brutally murder people. Like the gore it's in my opinion like just past tasteful, but it works for the movie because the movie like is supposed to be like a very ugly thing
Right.
that someone would do to another human being.
Yeah, and they capture that amazingly.
Yes. It sometimes get a little like WWE, but like
A little bit, but at the same time, it made it like those types of scenes were still really fun to watch. Like,
oh yeah,
there was a danger of it becoming very campy and almost a little obnoxious, but I feel like they teetered that line very, very well.
yeah. There's also like I feel like we're getting to a point where we're like maybe a third or halfway through the movie in our description. Bradley Cooper's character starts becoming like way more daring with his investigation of the butcher. So
Yeah, and that's
the gallery owner. Go ahead.
Oh no, you.
So the gallery owner tells him that she wants 3 more pictures like the one he took of the girl being attacked. And there's like this scene where Bradley Cooper's getting drunk and he goes off in the middle of the night to take more pictures. And you see that like Bradley he's kind of a coward. But there's like this really cool arc of Bradley Cooper becoming more and more brave, more daring, like, and it seems like it's his desire to become successful as a photographer.
Right.
But it kind of seems like it as it progresses, like maybe it's something else. Something else is drawing him into this.
Yeah, and it's interesting that you bring that up too, because throughout the film, and these are never really explained, nor are they like they kind of make sense towards the end, but it's only because like you kind of have to force them together in a way, not in a very like laborious way. Like they do kind of fit together. The whole dream things, like the whole dream scenes. There's only like 2 or 3 of them throughout the entire movie, but there's a couple of times where he like has dreams of certain scenarios involving this train specifically.
Yeah.
And so his personality almost starts to take a different shape after the girl attack, to be honest with you. Like once he witnesses the subway train incident, it almost seems like that is the catalyst to his shift in behavior, personality. He's becoming actually one of my wife's notes from it is that he starts suffering from like an insomnia-induced depression, almost a psychosis in a way, because he's not sleeping. He's going out 2, 3, 4 in the morning, taking all these pictures and becoming by the day more obsessed with who this person is.
Okay, so how many notes does she have?
Page and a half.
Jesus.
Handwritten.
How astute. Wow.
She's seen this movie like 13 times. Like she wrote most of them from memory.
Do you want to read off a couple of her notes?
Okay. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, he starts taking these horrific pictures after his interview with, her name's Carol, the gallery owner. played by Brooke Shields, of all people. Did not see that coming. And for a bit part, like a bit character, was done really well. And it definitely helped explain the type of person that Leon was trying to be, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like this world that he was trying to enter in, like this person, this professional that he was more or less trying to he carry himself as.
Do you think that like there's part of the dynamic with like his depression and stuff like that is, you know, his girlfriend is a waitress and like in kind of a shithole diner.
Kind of, yeah. But
like,
it's almost like an acceptable shithole for them because they're like friends with the owners, and like there's the kitchen, the cook character who's, if you guys see Men in Black, is the guy that gets his head shot off all the time.
No, that's Tony Shalhoub.
Is that Tony Shalhoub? They look very similar. They look very similar, these two people, because that was definitely not Tony Shalhoub.
Yeah. I for some reason I know a lot about Tony Shalhoub.
I was gonna say you brought him up last night a bunch.
I'll look him up.
Yeah, but moving on. Love the angle, shading, lighting of the full film. You know it's going to be a dark movie as soon as it starts. And that's kind of a cool point because there's even during some of like the happier scenes, more or less, like the positive outlooks on some of these characters, the way they light the scene, the way they light the movie and everything, it's almost like Seven in a way. Like it maintains that gritty texture throughout the entire course of the film. Like nothing about the way the movie looks lets you to believe that there's going to be a happy ending.
So it's cool that that's brought up because there are color schemes to let you know like the emotional intensity of like the scenes. When Bradley Cooper is unsure, everything takes like a more gray, neutral color scale.
Oh yeah.
When he's happy, everything is like a warm, brown orange.
Right.
When he's anxiety, there's a lot of black.
That's good.
And then when the movie wants you to know there's danger, everything goes like kind of a green tint, like The Ring.
Yeah, that's true. Oh yeah, very perceptive of you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Let's see. What's a couple more she's got here? More psychological horror than a movie like Freddy. I think what she's trying to allude to, that most of these slasher type films are just very cut and dry. Not that they're bad, but they don't really try and expand on any other type of personality attributes, if that makes sense. This one, we really see more of a real psychotic break in one of these characters, and we start to see like a not to repeat myself, but a downward spiral of like depression and anxiety, and that all leads into just crazy behavior that ultimately probably could have been avoided the entire time, but we're actually led to believe throughout this movie that these events have taken place for a reason.
Yeah, they give a very strong indication that like Bradley Cooper's being led to this. Like he almost hypnotically walks away from a scene and literally says, "I have to catch a train."
Yeah. It was at his opening. During the gallery opening where they're showing all of his photographs and everything, and he's like met 2 or 3 different art dealers, and he's just like back turned, is like he said, "I gotta catch a train," and then just walks off.
Peter Jacobson is Otto, the chef.
Okay. I have seen him in a bunch. Actually, now I remember where I saw him. He was in House.
Yes.
Now I remember where I saw him. Yeah, he was the little.
He does a lot of like TV.
It's probably where he's making most of his money, to be honest with you. He was on 2-3 seasons of House. Something like that. Yeah, I mean that's regular work right there, dude. It's kind of hard to turn it down.
The Good Wife. He's in the Cars 2 video game, and Cars 2. I don't know. Whatever.
The game?
Yeah, he's in the movie and the game.
That's weird.
Wow, what a fucking side note. I don't. Never mind. Sorry. It's like sometimes you just see something you're like, excuse me.
Oh, she actually has a note similar to mine. Love the head bash, sending the eyeball out into the camera. Like, it's just some great
Very
CGI
anime.
work. Yeah, very anime. And a great way for an actor like Ted Raimi to go out.
I also noticed that there are times when you see a first person perspective and you just know that there's like impending doom.
Loved that idea. Had not seen any other movie try and do something like that before this. And I felt they pulled it off beautifully. There is one scene early on. It's like one of the first couple of murders that we actually are allowed to witness as the audience. It's actually the same scene where Ted Raimi's eyeball gets bashed out of his head. And yeah, it switches to the female victim's perspective. And you essentially just see everything happening to her as if you were her. So it makes it way more intense to watch. It makes it, I mean, you almost feel what's happening to this character as it's happening. I mean, I cringed throughout the entire scene. Like, I was, oh, and then the rolls that came after, I was just kind of like, what the fuck? But yeah, very good scene. Very good scene.
So let's go back to your notes.
All right. After my meat hook to the dick note, I have actually what you just touched on. The first person view is a nice touch, and decapitates his victim with the fucking hammer. It still blows my mind that a blunt object can remove someone's head. And one or two swings of it, to be honest with you. He didn't have to try all that hard.
You can tell he's a buff boy.
Yeah, they do definitely, like, they don't make it a secret that this dude is abnormally strong. Not super strong, nothing like way out of the realm of possibility, but he is abnormally strong for a typical human male. Like, there's something about this person that is elevated beyond an average human being. So it's really cool to see a character like that evolve through this film. Go ahead.
I'm looking at your notes. Some like they're making me. I'm pretty happy about your notes. Reading through them, honestly. I wish I could have got mine down.
Well, you know, I took your note from the other time and just tried to make some more like off the cuff type of remarks and not look at it so much as like a film student.
Yeah. Killer is routine driven, almost robotic.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually a really good point, but like I think that when you get to the end of the movie, you understand why.
Right. But for the
and I don't want to give away any spoilers, so
yeah, but for the purposes of this review, we won't talk about that. And that's one reason why I made that note, just because of like what we're going to allow ourselves to talk about as of this point with this character. From what we can see, he's very very detail oriented. There's a scene where we actually see him getting ready for his day, like in the morning, waking up after a shower, putting on his suit.
What the fuck was he pulling off his chest?
Don't know. It's also in my notes because it's a weird like growth kind of a thing. There's what did I actually write down? Okay, maybe I forgot to write. Yeah, ew, exactly, Vector Seal. It's really weird because they almost look like, because it's like all polyps over this side of his chest. It almost polyps, almost kind of look like.
Well, it looks like polyps, like coming out of the skin.
Yeah, yeah. They also had kind of like a weird, like suction cup shape to them, like a octopus.
Yeah, and he puts them in a jar.
So many jars.
Dude,
like he's cutting these things off of him, and again, audio working pristine because you just hear all the like the slices of the X-Acto blade through the skin, and like these things plopping down into the kitchen sink, whatever the fuck they are. And then he opens his medicine cabinet, and there's like a dozen jars that are full of like barbicide that it then like houses all of these weird things that he's cut off of himself. It's just like this most, it's never really explained either. It's just like this eclectic thing that he does where he collects these things that he cuts off of himself.
It is very heinous though. Like,
and it's like, again, it's part of his routine. Like he obviously does this multiple times, if not multiple times throughout the day.
I could see that being like shit, shave, shower, shave off skin polyps.
And then after that, he's basically like a regular guy. Puts on his suit, puts on his ring, puts on his cufflinks, grabs his briefcase, and he's out the door. And then which leads into one of my other notes, which I feel like we can go ahead and jump into this. Holy shit, he works in a fucking meatpacking plant. The
most slick dressed butcher in all of New York.
Oh yeah, hands down. Fucking 3-piece wool suit and like Italian loafers. Like this butcher is classy.
He takes his job serious.
For sure. Yeah, takes pride in his work.
God damn it.
What was another one I had? Oh, there is a sudden appearance by one Quentin Rampage Jackson in a train scene. The dude with the green hoodie.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Rampage.
I had no idea.
Yeah, man. I went to the credits to make sure because I wasn't 100% certain about it myself. But yep, that's motherfucking Rampage. And the note I got from his scene was, if you pull a knife out of yourself, you should just assume you'll need it again. Cause he, like, you see him yank it out of his shoulder and then it's on the fucking bench in the goddamn train. You're still fighting the guy. Why would you not hold on to the fucking knife?
Well, clearly he doesn't want to like spread any STDs. You know? Maybe he's a Jehovah's Witness and like blood transfusion, you know. That's a weird comment.
That's a bit of a stretch.
Yeah. I really like that scene in particular because it shows like the brutality of Mahogany.
Oh, for sure.
What a very soft name, though. A rich Mahogany. Yeah, he just like tosses this guy around like a fucking ragdoll. It's really cool.
Yeah, they use that scene to illustrate his natural strength, his more or less his fighting ability. I mean, he was able to like really overwhelm this guy at a couple of points. And then just the sheer brutality of his actions. I mean, this guy kills without even a second thought. And mostly just putting into like as much effort into the kill as he absolutely can.
I will tell the truth though, he's very efficient. Like once he goes in for the kill, you know, no one really suffers a lot. Maybe like 10 to 15 seconds and then you're dead.
Yeah, like one initial blow, you probably feel the first thing, but he always makes sure to go for the head first. And after that, it's just kind of all of a daze. There was one, this may or may not be a spoiler, but one of his victims doesn't quite all the way die.
Are you talking about the last train scene?
More or less the last train scene, yeah. I'm not going to get into too many details, but it was kind of weird that they chose that moment for like this one guy. Help me.
He gets fucked up too.
Dude, he gets so like everyone else dies horrifically, but he really gets the raw deal on that one, man. Like he got the worst death almost the best death, but still the worst death in the entire movie.
Oh, something about a dark room scene that adds suspense and interest to a film.
For some reason, every time I see a movie that's like got a dark, gritty overtone, whenever someone adds in a scene with a dark room, I just really dig it. Like it just, for me, it adds just an additional element to that movie that just compounds what they're already doing visually.
So film development is suspenseful in and of itself because it's an exact science, but it's also very easy to fuck up.
Oh,
so
yeah.
There's the suspense of, did I do it right? what did I catch? Were my camera settings right? They weren't.
Yeah.
Um, and then like I know that when supernatural horror movies use dark rooms like film development, I really like that
Mm-hmm.
because they can do a lot of like creepy shit, like Sinister, like when he's got the picture up and like his head turns.
Oh yeah. Well,
Big fan
even
of that.
kind of pulling away from like typical horror movies, but even what they did in Ghostbusters 2, when he's developing the pictures of the painting, the figure on the painting. I can't remember that character's name now. But even then, like, you kind of see like the facial features start to kind of shift a little bit. The background starts to warp and makes it very, very creepy. For a fucking comedy, they still pulled off like a really creepy darkroom scene.
Oh yeah,
It's really cool. No, yeah, I'm right there with you.
more dark rooms, please.
More dark rooms, please, for sure. One thing I noticed is that this guy must carry at least 2 or 3 extra suits in that bag, because he comes out of that first train scene so clean, it's ridiculous.
I wonder if they make stops. Well, that's getting into spoiler territory, so
It kind of is, yeah, but it does almost seem like a natural question. Like, wait, this is happening on a subway train. Is anyone else around to see it? Like, are they making stops? It's a good question. Unfortunately, it's one we cannot answer at the show right now. Something to ask yourselves when you guys go and watch this movie, if you decide to.
do you want to look through her notes, see if she's got anything good?
Let's see.
Because
Love
she
the
has
head
so far.
bash. That's kind of spoilers too. I'll leave out that line. Who the butcher kills doesn't matter. This guy does not discriminate in his victims. He's not looking for any specific characteristics, physical or otherwise. He's not looking for overtly rich or obnoxious people. He's not looking for like poor or destitute type people. Like, he's not trying to clean the species or anything like that. He's just acting on
He's indiscriminate, that is for sure.
absolutely, like, women, men, black, white, doesn't matter. Everyone's fair game.
Unless you're young, and I guess you're good.
Well, I mean, that's kind of it's true, but at the same time, it's like the time of day and the environments that it happened. It's like, when's he ever going to run into a kid, to be honest?
Yeah.
So they set it up kind of cleanly to like, okay, there are some people that are exempt from his behavior, and I'm actually really glad to see that. Anytime kids get involved, I'm just kind of like, oh, I don't know if I want to see this part.
Yeah, they could have gone to like some really awful places with that. So glad they didn't.
Yeah, as another mention of the gritty and dark overlook, because there's even a scene where they're celebrating after he lands the gig with the gallery owner. The overtone for that scene, while warmer, kind of touching on what you were talking about earlier, they're still almost like a. I always make this reference, but it's because I'm just such a nerd. There's almost like a Gotham type of mask over the lighting and the scenery.
So you have like a lot of really warm streetlights.
Yeah.
And then you have really thick shadow, which I think turns into like him feeling safe in the celebration, but also having the anxiety of like, how am I going to get these additional pictures?
Right. And then even then turns right back around. He's, I got to go get these shots. I mean, it's like 4 a.m. Got to get them.
He immediately walks into the dark and walks straight into his like anxiety and fear.
And then the entire feel from that moment, the second he leaves the diner, the next scene completely changes the feel of the movie. And from that scene on, you're just kind of like almost sitting on like pins and needles waiting for the next event to happen.
How's the scalp? I'm better now. Thank you, Axum.
Hey, and thank you for following. I really, really appreciate that. You're a legend. Thank you so much. Hey, it worked.
Hey, you
that
got
time.
alerts. There we go.
I like it. Yay, they worked.
Hooray.
Hooray for testing. Okay, let's see. What's my next one here? Already talked about Home Dude going straight for the ass. I mean, he did not hesitate, dude.
He eats her ass too.
That's what I'm saying.
But like, yeah, but like, I don't know why, but I was just a little bit more shocked about like the very obvious butt sex they have.
Oh, that.
But then like Bradley Cooper's just like, listen, it's like it's groceries. And
It's groceries.
he goes straight for the butthole.
Yeah, no, that's what I was trying to allude to. Was just like he like without even a second thought, dude just goes straight ass to mouth.
And she's like been working all day. It's New York is humid as fuck. Bro, she's nasty. Like,
Swap ass.
yes. Nasty. That's the fucking end right there.
Yeah, you're right. Vector. He goes down the rabbit hole when he starts to finally piece together, like, okay, so for a little context, after he leaves the girl that's about to be attacked by the thugs in the subway station, he wakes up the next morning to find that she's actually missing. And from there, he starts to kind of go down this rabbit hole of figuring out how are these pieces lining up, because he's basically made himself involved unintentionally to the events that are taking place in this area. And he just gets so obsessed, and it starts to really trigger, I think, the psychosis for this character, because he loses even more sleep now. Like, there's a scene where they show his apartment where it's covered, all four walls are covered in photographs of hotels.
A Beautiful Mind.
So yeah, very Beautiful Mind, like, absolutely. And it's just like watching him descend into this madness, like, I think it almost maintained the human element of that character, if that makes sense.
So he goes to the cops and he tries to do the right, responsible thing.
He does.
He gives evidence. He's like, look, I've got pictures of the guy. I know who did it. I know when it happened. And they're like, how do we know it wasn't you?
Mm-hmm.
What else you got? And he's like, are you serious?
Yeah.
I got something.
Yeah.
What you got? Nothing.
I got something pretty good.
Yeah. So they immediately set the tone that his relationship with the authorities is piss poor after that.
Yeah. Yeah, because you don't see him much after that. And even when you do, they're constantly giving him, and his girlfriend for that matter, the runaround. Like, they're really no help.
Yep. Specifically, they are no help.
Yeah, they really are. Just kind of like, I don't believe you. And that did kind of
say that. Go ahead, sorry.
Just kind of rubbed me the wrong way, that it was just kind of like at every turn. There's normally that one character that's like skeptical, but like not so skeptical to stop listening. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I was looking for, and then we never got that. So that kind of annoyed me.
I'm looking at your notes. And the order specifically says, dude went straight for the ass, then goes down the rabbit hole. Very immature, but I laughed about that.
I mean, I didn't intentionally write it that way, but I'm so glad you picked up on it.
Yes. You also talk about the dream sequences.
Were they necessary?
They're very left field of the rest of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And it's never addressed. Ever.
No.
Please, can we have context?
Context, yeah. At least have her wake up next to him when he shoots up out of bed and like, is everything okay? Did you have a bad dream? We don't even get that.
Maybe he's just got like years of night terrors and she's so used to it, like...
That would suck. Like, she's just completely desensitized. Yeah, and like, yeah, she's just completely desensitized to it. I wish they would have done more with it too. At least make it like, have him acknowledge the fact that at least one or two of the things that he's experienced lines up with what he's dreamt about. You know, like he still seems completely detached from those dreams until he's actually having them, which didn't sit well with me either.
Can I just say, if we never, if we didn't like find out that they were like, because he like gives her a ring and he's like, this doesn't mean we're engaged. It
Right.
means we're engaged to be engaged.
Yeah.
If that wouldn't have happened, we almost might have thought that they were like maybe roommates who fuck, you know, like
Yeah.
they don't really give off a boyfriend girlfriend vibe.
A little disassociative, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Between the two of them. Like it almost resonates until they're actually like there's that scene where she first addresses to, hey, like I have this really cool opportunity for you thanks to this friend of mine. Like there's a little bit of chemistry, like there's some excitement, there's some happiness, you know, they're a little bit more connected. But it seems like after that, it almost seems like they just tolerate each other. You know what I mean?
1 second.
All right.
All right, dive down this rabbit hole with me.
Oh, hello. Okay, here we go.
Jesus Christ. So we're talking about like a lot of mental health with this movie,
Mm-hmm.
and like a lot of undertones about like his mental state. What if he's a sociopath? So like we know he's vegan, at least vegetarian.
At the very least, yeah.
But we never see him like sympathetic to really anyone, but never to animals. So maybe he makes that choice for health reasons to prolong his own life.
Right.
Um,
That's interesting.
so we also know that he's trying to make his life better.
Mm-hmm.
And just a consequence of that is that his girlfriend's life will be better. He doesn't ask his friends for help because he doesn't believe that they will help him or that they can help him.
Fascinating. Yeah, because he actually waits for that guy to come to him for that gallery job.
Yeah.
He doesn't go to him ever. And in fact, they touch on that. Like the guy was like, I just figured whenever he was ready, he would come ask me.
Yeah, like whenever I am deemed worthy by someone else because I have no connection to others and how they might help me or how they might be capable of helping me,
Right.
you know? Yeah, now the movie like becomes a little bit more
A little
interesting.
more interesting. Yeah, yeah. Because there is an underlying kind of like suspicion that there is something mental health related going on. Some of it's a little more obvious. Like when you have severe lack of sleep, your mental health goes out the fucking window. Anxiety, depression, all these things become so much worse than they already are. If he already has underlying issues, then he's completely destroying his fucking self.
Mm-hmm. So I think that he initially goes to turn the pictures into the police because number one, she's a model.
Mm-hmm.
So if he can be involved in the solving of her case, that's press coverage. That's his name being exposed. He's the photographer who figured it out. On top of that, he's got the exclusive pictures of the scene before,
Yeah.
which makes the art way more valuable.
Maybe a little narcissism there.
I mean, it's hand in hand with sociopathy.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, you are the only person who matters in your world.
Yeah, she does. My wife actually made some notes on that as well in terms of Leon, his mental health issues, very obsessive, to the point of really being noticed by the quote unquote girlfriend. I mean, there we do start to see a little bit of emotional attachment because she is obviously scared shitless with his behavior at that point.
But it's her being attached to him.
Right, not the other way around. She like, because again, we were talking earlier about how their interactions were very, very awkward. That was a moment, at least from her, for me, I felt it was very, very genuine. Like there was genuine concern, genuine fear for this person that she obviously cares about. Coming off a little stalkerish, in terms of like how he starts tracking down this supposed killer. He still doesn't know anything at this point, nothing concrete. Hadn't really gotten anything on film just yet. He's working completely off of speculation and off of assumption. He just knows something doesn't feel right. He doesn't know 100% what that actually is yet. So yeah, a little stalkerish and insomnia-induced depression. Was willing to put girlfriend in danger from his obsessions. And
Yeah.
I was about to go further into that, but that would have ruined the entire movie, so I stopped myself.
Yeah, everyone becomes kind of like a side note almost once he like starts obsessing over mahogany and the train and everything that's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot more mental health side to this story than we originally, or at least than I originally thought.
Yeah, I feel like maybe on my initial watch I wasn't picking up on it, but like now that we're discussing it, and
Right.
I'm definitely picking up on it now.
Yeah. I mean, it's there. It may not be obvious, but they laid the groundwork, and I think
Superb undertones.
superb undertones. Very well said. All right, my next to the last one. Did he really have to knock over that guy in the hallway when he's tracing Leon out of the meatpacking plant? That was a wide fucking corridor. He had at least like 10 feet of space on this side, and he goes out of his way to just blah, just run over this fucking guy. Was just carrying a bunch of sacks of meat. Like, he's just trying to do his job, and some guy just fucking steamrolls his ass.
I get it that you're a killer, but do you have to be a dick?
Yeah.
That's funny.
Have some common courtesy, motherfucker.
Real quick. What's Leslie's character name again?
Maya.
Maya. So Maya is very helpless.
Yeah,
Um,
I can agree with that.
and there's definitely a point where like maybe she's trying to become like aggressive, and maybe the movie kind of leads you on to believe that maybe she's like the last girl of the situation. No, that doesn't go anywhere. Because she literally falls over her own foot.
Oh yeah.
running through mahogany. It's almost like she got to the hall and she was like, "Sit down, Indian style." Oh wait, no, we need to run. Oh man, that chase scene almost got pretty campy.
Yeah, it could have. It definitely could have. I'm glad it didn't.
Dangerously close to campy.
Dangerously close to Scooby-Doo. Oh man. And
Your last note, yeah.
my last note. So as we touched on before, our main character, Leon, Bradley Cooper's character, is either vegetarian or vegan, which is touched on as we were talking about the whole tofu scene in the cafe. A little past the halfway mark, we see him develop a taste for meat. So I think that touches more on what you were talking about with the sociopathy attached to it. It has nothing to do with morality or anything like that. He is genuinely just concerned about his own physical well-being. And as his obsessions start to grow, that really quickly flies out the window. It's very fascinating to see that.
I think that also might have something to do with stop eating candy, you fat piece of shit.
Being very self-deprecating tonight, man.
I know. I think that it might have something to do. Kick W. Yeah.
Hey, what's up, Hardware? How you doing, brother?
I think it has something to do with his insomnia. I think that he suddenly has like his body's like calories. Let's go.
Oh, good point.
The dude's not sleeping. He's
No.
clearly like exhausted. And your body will tell you like there's like all these stories about people who are stranded at sea. There's one that I really like about a guy who was stranded and like fish were swimming up to the what a weird hand motion I was just doing. Fish were swimming up to the raft, and he would grab them and eat them raw.
Damn,
Like, he
scales
would
and
just
everything?
Well, he would like rip the meat
Okay,
and eat the fillet.
right.
But obviously, fish is very lacking in like a lot of fish meat's lacking in a lot of nutrients.
Oh yeah.
High iron, high protein, but no vitamin C, no vitamin A. Like, so he, I don't know if vitamin A is in fish. I just fucking said a thing.
Sure, I believed it.
But like, his body started craving the eyes.
Oh.
And he started eating the eyes, and that's like that had a lot more vitamins that like the fillets didn't have. Like, it had a lot of nutrients that he wasn't getting from just eating the fillet meat.
That's
So,
crazy. Just instinctively knew that he would get what he needed from that.
yeah. So your body will make you do stuff that you're not akin to doing when you go into survival mode. And we talked earlier about when he like autonomously turned and was like, I have to catch a train.
Right.
He was clearly just in like, maybe he was just in survival mode, like
He did
do
seem
the least amount possible.
abnormally focused at that point. And then that seemed to be his main driving motivator for the duration of the film afterwards.
Yeah.
It's a very complicated character.
And a very not complicated movie.
Right? Like that's the part that's really kind of like confusing me. I'm like, wait, there's some insane character development happening behind the character in an otherwise simplistic movie. Arguably takes on some more complex socioeconomic type of turns as we get further into the film. We're just not able to discuss it for spoiler reasons on this episode.
In the end, maybe we're just reading too much into everything.
We could very well be. That's entirely possible. And you know what? If we end up doing that, then by all means, feel free to call us out on it in the comments below. Below. But other than that, I mean, that was my last note for the film, and I really can't touch on anything else after that because it does. I mean, past this point, it's all spoiler territory.
I will say that last fight, so good.
So I did mean to make a note about this. I'm glad you said that. In terms of what we've seen in other quote unquote slasher style flicks, Jason, Freddy, Halloween, in terms of our assailant versus victim fight scenes with these kind of movies, in my opinion, I think this might actually be the best one.
It's a good fight, but it comes down to it being a guy versus a guy.
Yeah.
Jason's always meant to be like more than just a man. And Michael Myers is literally called the Shape because he takes the form of a human, but he's so inhuman.
Right.
Like inside. And then Freddy Krueger's like a demon. So what the fuck are you gonna do?
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. You can't really have the same style of fight for those other characters, I guess. It was good. It was good. Yeah, we're not shitting on the fight in any way. I mean, it was very well structured. I mean, it wasn't so insanely unbelievable. Like a guy of Vinnie Jones's stature and build could very easily be that strong. I really like they do that thing with the camera where it goes in and outside of the train. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Cool. Yeah, there was some great cinematography in that scene. Like there's a part where they're almost like stand up wrestling, and he shoves them through the window, but we're already on the exterior of the train for that shot. So it all moved very fluidly, and it was just it was a good point, man. I'm glad you brought that up. That was really cool. Yeah, I'm super into that end. Like the whole climax is super good, but like, God, we're not gonna get into spoilers. But if we ever do like a Patreon thing, we're gonna talk about the end of that movie, and I'm just gonna unload. I don't like the very end. The resolution to me is, I really didn't see it. I didn't see it ending any other way, to be honest with you.
I mean, I see options. There,
But
we can't get into it.
would those options have really carried the film any further than the original ending already did?
Yeah, sequel territory, brother.
Well,
A universe built.
see, here's where I start to here's where I start to really kind of like get kind of, I don't know about this, because we only have one original written work. From there, it becomes completely original storytelling, and then it runs the risk of becoming too much, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
So, I mean, sequel possibilities would be really cool. I would love to see how wasn't trying to avoid spoilers. Would love to see how the remaining characters that are not necessarily prevalent throughout the remainder of the film, how they would then carry on after these events have taken place.
I just want to know things. I just want to know. Dude, I just want to know. I want to be a knower. Oh, we can't get in anymore. It's just spoiler territory. I will definitely say it's a good movie. It's watchable.
Yeah.
It's very watchable. Even if you're not into horror movies, like the action, I think is pretty good.
The action, and then the foundation for solid storytelling is already, the groundwork is already laid, with Clive Barker being a celebrated author and writer, and this coming from one of his short story works. And then it got like a short story getting turned into an hour and a half plus movie. Pretty impressive. To be able to expand on something like that and do it as well as they did, good job.
I don't know. We got to move on. We got to move on.
If you guys would love us to talk about these movies even further or in full, if you don't care about spoilers and you're interested in us starting some additional content, let us know in the comments, let us know in the chat, and we'll start looking into other options into those areas. But for the time being, we're going to go ahead and wrap up the movie section in our talking segment. I will end on saying that if anything that we had to say about the film interested you in any way at all, go give it a watch. It is definitely worth the watch.
Okay, so now I think we're ready to move on to our last segment.
Yeah, and actually tonight's segment is Third Trick's little brainchild here, so I'm going to let you introduce this one, man.
Okay, so the concept behind this, well, we're just going to call this My Life Gory.
Love that.
And we're going to go through horror creators or horror actors IMDb, and we're going to look at like the stuff they've done, the impact they've made, positive or negative. We'll go into like small, like micro reviews of the movies they've done that we've seen.
Okay, yeah. I like that word, micro review.
Micro review.
Micro review.
So I decided that we'll start it out with Rab Zombie.
Rab Zombie.
Yes. Dragula himself. Oh man, I have like such a love-hate relationship with Rob Zombie movies.
And I would love to know why.
I love antagonists in Rob Zombie movies. Otis Driftwood is one of my favorite characters in all of horror. And you agree, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's easy a top 10.
He's an original.
Yeah.
There are no other characters like him in any other movie, franchise, short story, what have you, that's horror related. There is not a whole lot of Otis Driftwoods out there. There may be some similarities, but I think his personality and his behavior and mannerisms are very original to that character.
Side note: there was a deathcore band in Indiana called Otis Driftwood.
Shut up. That's badass.
Yeah, they were really good. They're fucking turds, but like the music was really good. I booked them once. Fun. They were like a MySpace band.
Ah, okay.
Allow me to date myself on that one. Yeah, so I'm gonna go to. I'll link Rob Zombie's IMDb real quick
Yeah.
in the chat.
The chat.
It's got like what he's known for, but it has his whole like his actual filmography, and he has so many fucking soundtrack credits. People love to use Rob Zombie songs in horror. It's almost a trope.
A little bit, and I mean, I'll give him this. Not his entire catalog does not necessarily fit in with like every horror movie, but there are songs that have like these ambient type of overtones that just make them fit really good in certain scenes.
Yeah. So I want to look at Rob Zombie as a director because I really don't give a shit about him as an actor. Ooh, Haunt, I want to see that movie. He did music for it.
Which one?
Yeah. Rob Zombie
Haunt?
did music for Haunt.
I would see that.
Yeah. But if you look at his director's credits, I mean it's all horror. Except for CSI Miami. He directed an episode of CSI Miami?
What?
Yeah. I have no words.
Episode 1 from 2010.
Whatever.
Was it a Halloween episode?
Jesus Christ.
Seems a little too on the nose, but I have a feeling you're not entirely wrong either.
Oh my god. Okay, so they've got his did it come out? 3 from Hell? That did come out, and I haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it yet either.
Probably not gonna. I'm gonna
Really?
be real with you.
Really? You don't want to round out the series?
Dude, Devil's Rejects is so good.
Yeah.
And you can't improve it.
Do you feel like Devil's Rejects is an acceptable end to that story?
I think that if they would have made the end a little bit more ambiguous, the sequel would be more enticing. But you know, as you're driving into a fucking hellstorm of bullets, you're not getting out. He did the pilot episode.
Is that what that is?
I'm not clicking on it.
I am. I already did.
I already did.
See, a pornographer who was acquitted in Los Angeles for the murder of his wife is suspected of killing another woman in Miami. Horatio and Delco travel to L.A. to further the investigation and clear Jesse Cardoza's name. Hardware puts his glasses on.
Holy shit. Okay.
I'm trying to find like specific information on the episode. Here we go. Storyline. Did you know? User reviews. Details. March 1st, 2010. Yeah, it doesn't.
It's not even a Halloween episode?
Man, it doesn't. No, it's not. Oddly enough. Sorry, Vector.
Take that, Vector. Wrecked.
God damn. Let's see. Plot keywords: party, trial, swimming pool. Okay. Yeah, it doesn't explicitly say if it was a pilot. The episode features 4 actors from Rob Zombie's 2007 Halloween movie.
Probably the wrestler guy who played Michael.
Who was that? Who was the wrestler guy?
Can't think of his wrestling name.
Was it
He's a
Kane?
wrestler. That's all. No, it's not Kane.
Because I know he's
That'd been
done some
cool, though.
movies.
Yeah, but they've all been like WWE movies. Don't fucking roll your eye.
Well, I mean, at least the other guys have expanded their resume a little bit. Jeez. But it doesn't explicitly say that it was the pilot, but I'm willing to bet if it's that far back, 2010, I would not put it out of the realm of possibility.
So my love-hate relationship with Rob Zombie
Yes.
must be Hogan. Fuck you. I love bad guys in Rob Zombie films.
Okay.
I love Rob Zombie's Michael Myers as a truly terrifying character in every sense of the word.
Okay.
I hate Rob Zombie's wife in all of his movies.
I mean, she's essentially playing baby in every single movie, right?
Well, not in Halloween.
But I mean, it's that what's the word I'm looking for? The mannerisms are the same between characters. Like, you don't see a lot of distinction in her actual, like, physical acting. You know what I mean?
Okay, so Tim Burton puts his wife in all of his movies.
Mm-hmm.
Helena Bonham Carter,
Yes.
I think her name is.
Amazing in Fight Club.
She fucking makes out with Johnny Depp all the time because
Every time.
I think
there's something
maybe
there.
I'm not saying Tim Burton is a cuck, but
I'm not saying that.
yeah. I don't like that. Don't put the same people in all your movies. It becomes a trope and it exhausts me. Like, how the fuck do I have to interpret your character now?
So how do you feel about Kevin Smith reusing a lot of actors?
But all the characters he reuses, they're the same character.
Okay, so you have a problem with repeat appearances but trying to play different characters?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I know what you mean. I can't disagree
Don't
with you
put your
too
wife
much.
in all your movies.
See, that becomes a little bit what's the word? Fucking like there's nepotism going on there.
Yeah.
You know, like, is she a good actress? Sure. Is she the best actress for every part for every one of your films? I think the answer is a acceptable no.
No
But-
fucking way.
Yeah, you know, I mean, just hold the auditions, man. Come on.
Also, in defense of Kevin Smith, when characters aren't playing the same character, at least they're good actors.
Yeah, 100% agree.
Ben Affleck.
Ben Affleck, yeah, goes between Banky and like a couple other offhand characters. What was his brief cameo in Clerks 2 was like hilarious. He's
Yeah.
like, just so you know, that's not very hygienic. And then Dogma too. That was amazing.
So there are good ways to reuse people
100% agree.
if there are people worth reusing. I think she was good in Devil's Rejects. I think she was bad in Halloween.
Yeah.
I also don't care for her in Lords of Salem.
See, I didn't see Lords of Salem, but she's
Yeah,
on the
don't.
cover.
Yeah, don't.
Well, she is the cover, I should say.
Yeah. I liked her in House of a Thousand Corpses just because that's the same character.
Right.
But like, don't stop. It's okay.
It's okay. You can use someone
I
else.
haven't seen Haunted World of El Super Bisto, but because that's like an IP of his,
Oh.
I hear it's actually pretty good.
Well, isn't that also like that's directly named after one of his albums, isn't it? Or is that no? That's a White Zombie album, I think.
I believe so.
Dude, he actually
But he makes a
directed an
comic.
episode of Supernatural.
What?
He directed an episode of Supernatural. Oh, he's a writer. Excuse me. But it's under his director credits. Never mind, that's soundtrack. The tab opened up again. So he has a soundtrack on Supernatural.
Yeah.
That's more believable.
Isn't it for Dracula?
It is for the song
Sex and Violence.
Sex and Violence.
Thunder Kiss 65. Yep.
That has to be a cover because Sex and Violence is a punk song.
Yeah.
That's literally the lyrics for the song too.
Yeah. That's punk rock.
Let's see. So you think you can dance Canada?
I'll fucking end this. I'll end this call right now. Don't. Oh my god.
He was a performer on one episode.
Did he direct Ozzy Osbourne's Dreamer video?
Yeah, he does have some video credits on there.
That's awesome.
Ozzy Osbourne Dreamer, a lot of his own movies. He directed the More Human Than Human video. Not entirely surprised by that.
Okay. So can I say, I can because it's our podcast. I will say that House of a Thousand Corpses is an amazing, amazing horror movie.
Mm-hmm.
That you should only watch if you're into horror movies.
Yeah, that's for sure.
And I think that The Devil's Rejects is an amazing, amazing movie if you're into Rob Zombie movies.
Oh, okay. So you won't even just regulate that to horror fans, but specifically Rob Zombie fans?
Dude, I mean, like, if you're into... I'll recommend it to, like, 75% of horror fans.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll recommend it to everyone who likes a Rob Zombie film.
Okay.
Like, if you told me that you liked Halloween, I'd be like, oh, well, you need to check out House of a Thousand Corpses and The Devil's Rejects.
Right. Which guaranteed if someone says I loved Halloween, they're going to say, I saw those already.
Yeah. But maybe not.
I do want to see Three from Hell just to get that nice little bookend, you know, on the series and just say that, okay, yeah, I'm done with it.
Oh. We might have to do that.
Like, I mean, it's not even so much like, oh my God, I have to see this movie. It's like, fuck, I got to see this movie.
God, what's his name that played the clown? Captain Spaulding.
The guy
He's
that
not in
passed not too long ago.
He's dead?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Oh shit, sorry. Yeah.
Fuck.
He had some pre-existing health issues.
Yeah, so he wasn't in Three from Hell because he was having an operation and could not pass the physical to be on set.
Wow.
So they got it okayed for him to monologue in the movie. Like, basically he's just sitting in a room, and from what I hear, it's the best part of the whole movie is Captain Spaulding monologuing.
Really?
Yeah.
So he's like, what's the word? Narrating.
A video interview.
He's like narrating the film?
No, they do video interviews. Because
Oh.
it's like they arrest them.
So he's like being
Right.
interrogated.
Yeah.
And the movie is more or less a reenactment of what he's telling in the interrogation?
No.
No? Ooh.
It's literally just him, like, monologuing, like, giving a speech.
Okay.
And the reviews I've seen of the movie talk about how it's literally like one of the most it's probably the most powerful moment in the movie, and I believe it.
Another legendary character actor, right up there.
What's
with
his name? Fuck.
Yeah, I gotta figure that out because I'm. Yeah, no, he did pass not too long ago.
Damn, man.
Like this year, I want to say, like that recently.
September 21st.
Okay.
Of last year.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, just late last year, so not that long ago.
He was 80.
Bro. He did not look it.
No, he wore it well.
Yeah.
He really just looked like a dude who partied hard.
I can agree with that. I can agree with...
Like
oh, wow.
What?
One of his last movies is in post-production right now.
Abruptio?
Abruptio, yeah. It's just a voice character, but damn, I'm gonna have to see that.
Yeah, I just always thought he looks like the type of dude who will like, you know, like, who always knows where to get like a 30 pack of hams, you know?
I totally had in my head that like he's gonna say something logical like a bunch of really good cocaine or like something real party oriented. Comes off. That's great.
I mean,
I'm glad you said that instead. That was way better.
I don't know if he did coke. I don't know. Whatever.
I mean, he did look like a party guy. He looked like, or not even just looked, but he appeared to me as someone who was very in the moment a lot of the time. Like he didn't really dwell on, yeah, very intense. Would have loved to see him on a podcast.
I bet it exists. I bet he's done some.
It's got to be at least the Fangoria one, right?
Mm-hmm. For sure.
I'll have to dig that up and listen to it.
Let's look at the Rob Zombie catalog.
All right.
House of a Thousand Corpses is Rob Zombie's first feature-length film.
Mm-hmm.
Arguably a masterpiece.
Arguably.
Like, I would say 8 out of 10 horror fans like House of a Thousand Corpses.
I could agree with that.
Then you look at like sequels, Devil's Rejects, super good movie.
Yeah.
I never watched Grindhouse. Oh, never mind. Never mind. He made a fake trailer in Grindhouse. Werewolf Women of the SS. God damn.
Someone out there make that movie happen.
Old split foot.
That's what I was thinking too.
So I feel like Halloween is where he like turned. That's when he went like Hollywood.
Do you think maybe he got too overconfident with the reception the first two movies got? You think so?
Bro.
You think that's what it was?
De Niro. Yeah.
I don't know. I never really saw.
Halloween was very financially successful.
Right.
And of course it's a fucking Halloween movie.
Right.
And it's got Rob Zombie's name on it. And he was horror movie gold at the time.
Yeah. I mean, after the first two, House of a Thousand Corpses and Devil's Rejects, after those movies, you could not talk about late 2000s horror without mentioning Rob Zombie's name.
So, it's his sophomore production. He's clearly got a name. That's when everyone starts to notice, like, your dialogue isn't very good, but your horror is on point. And then, I don't know, he saw dollar signs and made Halloween 2, and that's, like, really just a decline for me.
See, I almost wonder if it wasn't directly his choice, if maybe Universal didn't put him under some kind of contract.
Bro, he got so much creative freedom.
Oh.
Yeah, it's documented. Every interview, he's like, I got to do what I wanted. And I mean, admittedly, he made a cool story.
Mm-hmm.
Not a good Michael Myers story, but a cool story.
Right.
If they would have called it like the Bum, dude, I would have been super into that movie.
Yeah.
Revenge of the Homeless Man? Whatever, I don't care. I'd have been super into that movie, but as a Halloween movie, nah, I'm good.
Ends up being the hobo that got the shit kicked out of him in Clockwork Orange. It's like 40 years later.
Yeah, dude.
He's back for revenge.
Yeah, that's just like in my eyes, that's where he just takes a that's where like his artistic value is incredibly lowered, decreased,
Decreased, yeah, yeah.
a downward slant.
Oh, Haunted World of El Super Beasto is on here. It's a video.
Mm-hmm. That's a
And then
comic book he did.
Woolite the Torturer, like the fabric softener.
It's a video short, music video maybe.
I don't know. Maybe a short film.
Metaphorical torture represents what clothes endure without the detergent. Are you proud of yourself
No,
in guessing that?
I'm not. I wish I was wrong. I was hoping I was wrong. In fact, I assumed I was wrong until I heard the words you were reading.
Commercial was released in two versions, a darker one for Facebook and movie theaters and a milder one for television. They made two versions, bro. No. That's Hollywood right there. Tell me he's not Hollywood as fuck if he makes a Woolite commercial.
God damn it.
Commercial.
But he's like, all right, but I'm going to do it like kind of in my fashion so people don't just assume I sold out.
Yeah.
Oh, what
Yeah,
the
man.
fuck, dude.
I have to watch Three from Hell now just because you said bookend.
I mean, that's just my perspective on these franchise movies, man. It's like if I don't see the
Isn't
last
this franchise though?
Well, isn't it a direct end to Devil's Rejects? Or isn't it a direct sequel? So, I mean...
But they're not titled similarly.
Right.
They all three are viewable independent of each other.
Yeah. But they're still
does not
intertied
continue on
characters.
itself.
The story is... it's not a direct continuation, but they do allude to the events in the prior movies.
Hence why I said they're all independently watchable. You don't need the background information. Because they spoon feed you what you need.
Yeah, I guess you're right. I don't know. To me, I don't know. It's just my own personal perspective. Like, if I know the films are related, like, I gotta see them.
Dude, House of a Thousand Corpses came out in 2003.
Shit, that's right. It did.
It's almost 20 years old.
That's when I graduated high school.
Goddamn. I think that's the year I went into high school.
And then out of nowhere, he has a stand-up comedy special under his director credits.
What the fuck ever.
For one, Mr. Tom Papa. Great comic. Funny dude. And from what I've learned, makes awesome bread. But did not expect to see that under Rob Zombie's IMDb. That's for sure.
He voiced a character in Guardians of the Galaxy.
What?
Uh-huh.
Is that under his actor credits?
Yep.
Oh, Volume 2. He was the unseen Ravager. You never see him. You just hear his voice.
He's in both Guardians of the Galaxy.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Ravager Navigator.
What the fuck, man?
Just a
Hollywood.
really vague. Oh, he did an episode of Justice League.
Ixutu. I could see that. I would do that
For sure.
in a heartbeat.
See, I don't understand why they have guest appearances on someone's IMDb. They have his Jimmy Kimmel appearance on here, too.
Because he can put them on his resume.
I mean, I guess, but isn't he just being himself in these kind of shows? Oh,
Yeah.
dude. He was in the Spider-Man TV series. He played the Lizard Man, Kurt Connors.
Yeah, but that's the computer animated one.
Well, I mean, he still did a Spider-Man show, man.
Yeah. I mean, it's still cool.
Still cool. Not as cool.
Not as cool.
Space Ghost was an amazing show.
Space Ghost Coast to Coast. I was super into that.
funny.
I remember that airing on Adult Swim before it was Adult Swim.
Oh yeah. What did they call it? Like they had
it was a Toonami thing.
It was Toonami, that's right.
But they called it like late night or something?
Yeah. We are aging ourselves so much right now. Oh, dude. That's pretty great. Robert Bartley Cummings, more famously known as Rob Zombie, born in Haverhill, Massachusetts, January 12th, 1965. Oldest son of Louise and Robert Cummings, has a younger brother, Michael David, a.k.a. Spider-1 from Power Man 5000.
Really?
Yeah, they're brothers. Like, legit.
I did not know that.
Yeah, man. Who is the lead singer of Power Man 5000. Growing up, Zombie loved horror movies, which have greatly influenced, obviously, his music and filmmaking career. In 1983, graduated from Haverhill High School. After graduating, moved to New York City to attend Parsons School of Design, briefly working as a production assistant on Pee-wee's Playhouse in 1986.
Yeah, I believe that.
That was kind of a twisted show, too.
He's a tattoo artist.
Can you imagine?
He's just an artist. He's like got a lot of design work.
Oh, all the White Zombie album art and everything was done by him.
Yep.
Which actually is, with him working on Pee-wee's Funhouse, can you imagine if those like puppeteered characters, like the chair and like all the different little like objects that came to life were designed through Rob Zombie's eye?
All of the anthropomorphic housewares.
Yeah. All of them look like a fucking White Zombie album cover.
Pee-wee never shows the bathroom because toilet. You open the door of the bathroom and it's like, my life is hell.
He's got like
Kill me.
pus boils popping on his tongue and shit. This conversation took a turn.
It did. Yo, Sherry Moon Zombie's 49 years old. It's a tangent now. It's just nothing but a tangent. Synopsis. My Life Gory. Rob Zombie was an amazing director until he went all Hollywood in Halloween 2.
I, as humorous as the wording is, I have a very hard time disagreeing with you.
Some people might say he went all Hollywood when he remade Halloween anyway, because there are statements he made where he said Halloween is too good to remake, or that remakes are lazy by nature.
That's right. He did say some shit like that.
But man, once they gave him that check, though,
and with that check, they tell you can make whatever movie you want. Creative license plus the paycheck. I mean, that would I challenge anyone to turn that job down.
Bro, I get it.
Yeah.
But I'm also not going to be mad at someone if they tell me I went to Hollywood and lost my artistic value.
Right, yeah.
Hey, I get it, bro. Michael Caine once said, when asked about like how he could make a movie as shitty as Jaws 3, and he was interviewed at his house, and he said, "You see that house? That movie paid for that house." I was like, what a fucking gangster. So I see both sides of it.
Oh yeah, 100%.
I'm just calling an apple an apple.
I mean, yeah, I am not disagreeing with you in any way, shape, or form. It definitely, probably the enticing thing about it, aside from the actual dollar amount, is that the dollar amount meant that he would have basically free reign over his career decisions from that point on. He basically did already, but then he has the resources to back up. Like, well, if you don't want any part of this, I can just do this myself. I really don't give a shit.
But he never started his own like movie production company.
That I anticipated that coming. And now that we're sitting here in 2020 and we still don't see a or a Zombie Productions or anything alluding to like his name attached to a production company is very, very odd to me. And with that fucking paycheck, he could have easily started that production company.
I'm sure he had to buy like more horror VHS. But now I'm being a hater. No, we're not gonna do that. Anyway, love Rob Zombie, but that's just my opinion.
And opinions are understandable, and especially when you're able to back them up with some very well worded facts.
Yeah, I just want
paycheck's a paycheck.
I think that paycheck's a paycheck. I get it, brother.
Yeah.
I'm straight edge and I work at a liquor store. Jesus.
Living embodiment of that testament right there, man. Oh, man. Well, do you want to go through anyone else's, or are you comfortable wrapping it up there?
I think we're good.
You think we're good? I think we're pretty good, too. This has been a fun episode. Another one. I am very, very happy with the way this went. Like I said before, I am now a fan of this movie, Midnight Meat Train. Even without some of the inconsistencies and like some of the more subtle stuff that we were kind of talking about in terms of like lighting and overtone and all that kind of stuff, it's actually a fun movie to watch. Like some of the action scenes and fight scenes that we were talking about were super well done. Even if you don't really like dig like the blood and gore and stuff like that, the CGI is pretty obvious enough that it's not overly disturbing. So it can be enjoyable for someone that's maybe normally averted to that kind of stuff, except for that one last train fight scene. That one was pretty fucked up.
So good. So good.
So just, I mean, we've already broken the spoiler wall already. So before we wrap up, the scene we're talking about where Leon and Mahogany are fighting, it's like the last fight scene of the train. And to keep himself from falling out the door of the moving train, he takes his knife and plunges it into the stomach of Leon and Leon's girlfriend's friend, who's actually still alive at this point. Jurgis, yeah. Jurgis, who's still alive at this point.
He gives the worst fucking death in the
knife
whole movie,
in the gut.
Dude.
He's like, oh, I can't fall out of this train. And then you just hear it rip and like so much blood. So much fucking blood.
Do we have a list of horror that we're going through, or do we just pick movies at random? Let's do a movie off the list.
Okay. Let me pull up the list.
Matter of fact, let's do Serpent and the Rainbow.
Ooh, I am actually all about that.
Yeah.
I'm all about it. We watched Third brought this up last night during Gothic Sushi Show. We watched a quick trailer of it and it looks really, really good. So I am actually all about that idea. But to answer your question more directly, we do have a working list. We are taking suggestions from viewers and listeners. If there is a movie that you guys are a fan of, or maybe someone whispered in your ears, hey, this movie's actually really fucking good, and it's something you would like to see us and hear us talk about, drop them in the chat, drop them in the comments. You can even tweet directly at us at Deadboy Lounge, DE4D Boy Lounge. Branding. Good stuff. And yeah, we'll take your suggestions. I can't promise that we'll do every movie suggested to us, but we will definitely try and cover as many as we can.
Catch us early so we can definitely get your movies.
Right. Yeah. Do it now.
Thank you for listening, watching, attending the Deadboy Lounge, the horror movie news culture podcast. I have been Third X Trick, and I want to wish you all an amazing night, rest of your week, life, however much longer that might be. And I'll put it over to my co-host.
Thanks for watching and listening. Hope you guys had an enjoyable time with us here tonight. Hope you have an enjoyable rest of your week. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and as always, stay dead.
Wash your hands. I'm gonna be eating these the whole stream. Get ready for this. Ooh.
That's all we're gonna be hearing.
The movie was really good.
All pink, yes, says Vector Seal.
Yeah, they're fucking amazing.
See, I've never really cared about like I don't like the lemon, but other than that, like I don't really have like a solid favorite Starburst, if that makes sense.
Controversial opinion, the orange Starburst is the best Starburst.
It is controversial. You're right.
I'm apparently getting a divorce over this opinion.
Sounds logical.
Whatever.